along with that story goes 4 lessons. So when I go 1, 2, 3, or 4, and I start telling you what these lessons are, I want you guys to make sure that you're really paying attention, because I feel that these lessons are very, very important. They're the reason why I come in here and talk to you guys, and they're also the things that have kept me moving forward in life, even though something really bad happened to me. So, we'll start out with the story of what happened, all right? 3 years ago, actually this month, June 29th of 2011, I was riding from Springfield in my motorcycle, was visiting some friends. I wasn't speeding, I wasn't drinking and driving, I wasn't doing anything bad. And I got knocked off my bike by a hit and run driver. Anybody tell me what a hit and run driver is?
Like crazy people that are driving, or like they drunk and are driving?
Maybe, close. I don't know if they might be crazy, they might be just a little nervous or scared.
Well, he was, maybe when he was, maybe it was in a car and you hit by it?
Yep, that's exactly what it is. I got hit by the car and they ran, right? They just went away. Now, does that sound like something good to do? No, right? Now, why do you think somebody would just hit you with a car and run away and keep going? What are some of the reasons? Maybe they're embarrassed. How about scared? Would you maybe be scared? Like, what if you thought that you got really hurt or something like that? So, first, let's identify the first lesson. So here's number 1. Just because bad things happen does not mean it's your fault. Just because something bad happens to you, it does not mean that it's your fault. And it's very important to know that. Because when you feel like something's your fault and it's something bad, you get sad. You get angry maybe. How many of you have been so sad that you didn't want to leave your room? You didn't want to do anything. You didn't have any energy or any strength, nothing, right? And it's not a good feeling, right? That type of feeling keeps you from enjoying things and doing your life. And I almost got to that point. After the accident, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want people to see me because I looked different. Because I looked weird. Yeah, anybody notice I got 4 fingers instead of 5? Right? I could count to 9 better than anybody in here. Just kidding. It's a joke. That's why I'm not a stand-up comedian. Okay? So, you have a question?
Did you hit me on purpose?
No, I don't know, because they ran. They never stopped. Now, the person who ran me over, because what happened is, after I got knocked off my bike, I was trying to crawl off the road. I was actually fine. And then I got run over by a van. Yeah. So, that brings me to my next lesson. Even if something is your fault, it is very, very important that you take responsibility. Okay? If that person who ran me over or who knocked me off of the bike, if they would have stopped to see if I was okay, do you think I would have gotten run over by a van? No, because they probably could have waved off traffic or done something to pull me off the road, something, anything to keep me from getting run over. So that's why it's very important. Even if you think you're going to get in trouble, you need to take responsibility. If you did something and it's your fault and you know it, you need to take responsibility. Because yes, you might get in trouble. Yes, there may be a consequence, but there will also be a lesson. You will learn what not to do ever again, right? How many of you have gotten in trouble and then did what you got in trouble for again, knowing that you were going to get in trouble? Not a lot of you, right? Because once you get in trouble, you kind of know, oops, better not do that again, right? Okay, so it's really important. Always take responsibility. Now, after the accident, like I said, I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. But that's not a good thing to have because you have to keep moving forward in life. So, my mind had a bunch of I can'ts. I can't run. I can't dance. I can't walk. You know, that was all things that I used to tell myself right after the accident. But I realized that it was important for me to not just say I can't. It's okay to say I can't, as long as you follow it with not yet. That's the third lesson. So the first one was bad things happen doesn't mean it's always your fault. When it is your fault, now lesson number 2, when it is your fault, take responsibility. And lesson number 3, it's okay to say I can't, as long as you follow it with not yet. After the accident, I couldn't run. I can now. Back 3 years ago, when I first came to this school, I was in a wheelchair. I didn't even have a leg. 2 years ago, I came in, and when I came in that first year, I told everybody in the 2nd grade, by next year, I will be walking. And I came in that next year, and I was walking on my prosthetic. When I came in walking on my prosthetic, I said, by next year, I will be running. And thanks to this thing, I'm able to run. This is my running leg. See, unlike you guys could use the same leg for different things. I have to switch my legs on and off. But anybody seen a grasshopper leg? Right? That thing's like a spring, right? That's what this is. So when I'm actually running, this bends like if it was my knee. And then when I push really down with my weight on this, it acts like a spring and it pushes me forward. So I'm able to run with this leg. Right? But that's not the only thing. After the accident, I couldn't ride a bike. I couldn't go skiing. I couldn't do things that I had done before, and I couldn't try new things. That's what I thought. But then I decided to get myself out of this mindset of I can't. I told myself not yet, and 6 months after the accident, I went skiing for the first time ever in my entire life. And because of this leg, I'm able to ride a bicycle, I'm able to go wakeboarding, I'm able to go skiing. This leg is like a shock. So any type of sport that needs my leg to be like a spring, that's what I use this thing for. Because I bend it and it pushes me back straight. So it's great for riding a bike, it's great for any type of impact, what they call impact sports. So like skiing, snowboarding, stuff like that. Now, that leads me to, we're on 3?
We're on 3.
We're on 3. Well, no, we're on 4, because I already said not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so we're on 4. The 4th lesson is there's absolutely nothing stronger in this world than your mind and your heart. Okay? When you guys are lazy, whose fault is it? Yours, right? Your mind and your heart. Who controls your mind and your heart? I control it? Or do you control it? You control it. So I want you to say me. Who controls the mind and your heart?
Me.
Does your mom control it?
No.
She wants to, doesn't she? Your teacher. Your teacher wants to, right? But who really controls it? You do. So if you're sad, who's controlling that? If you're happy, who's controlling that? If you don't do your homework, who's controlling that?
Me.
So who's in control of your life?
Me.
And if you are in control of your life, whose fault is it when you don't do something?
Me.
Exactly. So, if your mind and your heart are the absolute strongest things in the universe, and you are in control of it, Who's going to stop you from accomplishing your goals?
Me.
Only you. Okay? You are your own worst enemy. Does that make sense? No?
No.
Okay, what's an enemy, right? An enemy is somebody who wants to hurt you or do something bad, right? But you're in control, right, of your mind and your heart. So, if you want to do something and you don't, you're your own worst enemy because it's only your fault that you didn't do it. Does that make sense? Could I still be in my room right now crying and moping and being sad about my life? Why am I not in my room doing that? Exactly. Because if I did that, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing that. And I'm in control of my mind and my heart, right?
And what are all the cool things that you're doing?
I have, obviously I talked about the gone skiing. I'm also part of a group called the Wounded Warrior Regiment, and we are going to be competing in a Olympic-style competition against the Army, Navy, and Air Force this September.
Because he was a Marine, too.
Mhm.
Or he is a Marine.
I am a Marine, yeah. So we're going to be competing in what's called the Paralympic-style event. A Paralympic-style event is like the Olympics, but for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be shooting, and I'm also going to be doing archery. Anybody seen the movie Brave?
Yeah.
Anybody seen Hunger Games?
Yeah.
My mom sees it.
Quentin does archery.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Quentin just showed
Quentin
us
does
about
archery.
archery.
Actually, Quentin does archery in the same place that I do archery,
Yeah.
which is Ace Archers in Foxborough. Little plug there, sorry.
It is a lot of fun.
So I do that. I told everybody last year that I was going to get on my motorcycle again, and as of this Friday, I'm going to be taking my motorcycle from Massachusetts on a 5-hour ride to Staten Island, New York to visit some old friends of mine for the weekend. Anything that I do, anything that I choose to do, I do it and I accomplish it. I didn't get good grades when I was in high school. I'm in college right now getting very good grades because I am in control. So, what does that mean? If you want to accomplish something, you can. That's it. You can.
But how would you do that?
By setting goals. Anybody know what a goal is? What about you, little man?
Something you want to really do.
Something you want to really do, okay? So, let me ask, what's your name? Colin? If a goal is something I really want to do, right? What do you think a short-term goal is?
Like, to push really hard and try to do something.
But in what time period? So if I'm setting a short-term goal, I want to try to accomplish it in a least amount of time. So why don't we do this? Why don't you all set a short-term goal? And I tried this with one of the last classes, so I think it might be a good one to do here. Because you guys are going to go to a different grade next year, right?
Or a whole different school.
A whole different school, right? And your teacher is a very knowledgeable person, right? She's a teacher. She knows what you're going to be probably going to do. How many of you are like nervous about going to the next school? How many of you are excited about going to the next school? Perfect. Awesome. All right. So how about we do this for a short-term goal? I want all of you to make 10 questions. Each of you are going to give 10 questions to your teacher within the next 3 weeks. Okay? It's a short-term goal. Short-term goal. In those 10 questions, I want you to ask your teacher anything that has to do with the next school, the next grade, or what you can do to get ready for it. Does that make sense? So we're going to be asking the teacher something, anything like, what can I do to get ready? What are some pointers that you might have for me? What are some of the things that I could be expecting? Anything you could think about that has to do about the next school or the next grade. That's going to be your short-term goal because that happens in only 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks and you guys are done. So that's a short-term goal.
And you can probably take some of those questions to your parents too, because they've been in third grade.
So, how about for long-term? Long-term. Let's make this one fun.
We just keep practicing. If something's really hard, we start out at a minimum and then we get better.
Perfect. Yes, a long-term goal is something that you're going to accomplish like a year from now. Okay? So let's kind of get creative with this. I'm going to let you guys do this on your own because I don't know what you guys have in your life, right? But a good long-term goal might be if some of you guys are in sports, maybe a sports type of goal. Or one young lady in the last class, she said she wanted to do a backflip by next year. Is that doable? That's realistic, right? If she practices with her parents, safely with a coach, so that she makes sure she doesn't get hurt. But if she keeps practicing and practicing, she could do a backflip by next year, right? What are you? I'm just gonna pick out like 3 people just because I want to get ideas. You, what's something that maybe you want to try to do by next year? Could be anything. Think about it and I'll get back to you. How about you?
A back bend.
A back bend? Okay. How about you, Q?
Run a mile.
Run a mile. That's a great one. Mom, get working.
Okay.
Get working. Run a mile on that one. Okay. How about you?
For 5 hours.
Run for 5 hours? Okay. That's a big one, but it's a year. So now let me ask you this: if you don't run for 5 hours by next year, who was in control of that?
Me.
You. So who is the only person that's going to keep you from accomplishing that goal?
Me.
You. So the question is, are you seriously going to do that?
Yes.
Yes. Tell yourself that. Say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to run 5 miles by next year. Say it.
I'm gonna run 5 miles by next year.
Does it feel good, right? Feels good to say something. I want everybody to say this. I am in control.
I am in control.
Say it a little louder. I am in control. Who's in control?
Me.
Who's in control?
Me.
Who's going to accomplish these goals?
Me.
Who's going to stop you?
Me.
No, that's where you say, yes, it's you, but you're going to say, I'm not going to stop myself, right? That was a little trick one. It's all right. It's my fault. I did that on purpose. So, again, you are in control of your own destiny. You are your own worst enemy. The only person that's going to keep you from accomplishing your goal is you. That's it. Don't be that person. Be the person who says yes. I will. I am strong. I am powerful. Nothing is going to hold me back. I'll tell you what. If I could get out and I could run and I could ride a motorcycle and I'm missing a leg and part of my hand, then you guys have no excuses.
That is true. That's true. And you made a really good point too. Doesn't it feel good when you accomplish a goal?
Right? How many of you have ever felt bad for accomplishing a goal? I know I don't feel bad. Like, let's see. Quinn, here's a good example. When you first shot the bow and arrow, right? I know you got it in the yellow, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Like right in the middle,
Yeah.
bullseye.
Yeah.
Did that feel bad?
No.
Didn't feel bad at all, right? Because you get it at bullseye, you're like, yeah, I'm like Robin Hood right over here. I could get it in the middle. You don't feel bad when you do something good. So why don't we do good things all the time? Because we get into our own heads. We keep ourselves from doing the things we can. So I'm going to finish off with, I'm about to ask you guys some questions, but before I do, let's go over the 4 lessons because they're important to me. Okay? The first lesson being bad things happen, but it doesn't mean what? It does not mean it's your fault. When it is your fault, you need to take responsibility. Okay? It's okay to say I can't, as long as you also say not yet. And the final one. There is nothing more powerful in this world except your mind and your heart. So if your mind and your heart are the most powerful things in the world, who's in control of those? And who has the ability to accomplish anything? You. Perfect. Questions?
How did you get in the road after you got run over in the van?
Well, the person that ran me over in the van, they actually stopped and they called the police. So then the police came and they kept me and safe until the ambulance showed up. Good question.
You are the Marines, and guess who's in the Marines? My oldest brother is.
Oh yeah?
Oh,
Very
then you
cool.
got another
Very
brother, a Marine brother.
Cool. Very cool. Any other questions?
Wait, no, the Air Force.
The Air Force, it's all right. It's still serving. It's always good. As long as you're serving, and so that's all that matters. Any other questions?
Questions on
No?
What do you do in like the thing where like you like the thing that like the Olympics like not?
Oh, yeah, so I shoot. So I'm a very good shooter. So I shoot a very expensive pellet gun. You guys ever seen a pellet gun? It's like a little lead pellet, you know, like a BB,
Yeah.
right?
What? Oh, yeah.
It's like a BB gun, right? But it's a really expensive BB gun. And I shoot pistol, which is also like a BB gun, and I shoot archery.
My dad does.
How does your leg stay on?
My leg, very good question. My leg stays on using suction. So if you guys listen very carefully. You hear that?
I hear like
Like it's right. That was me pushing some of the air out. So in this hard part is my leg, and my leg is wearing like a rubber sock. So that rubber sock pushes air out, and then it creates like a tight space, and that suction is what keeps my leg on.
did your other leg get hurt in an accident?
Good question. Kind of. You guys see this really long scar? That was from when they were trying to save my leg. They took one of the veins out of my good leg and tried to put it into my other leg to restore circulation, to get the blood going, you know? But it didn't work. So that was the only thing that happened on that leg. Very good question, though. Yep, I got a few of them. Any other questions?
Did it hurt when they did something to the finger?
No, not the finger. When the accident happened, yeah, it definitely hurt from what I could remember. But then after they gave me some medication, I didn't wake up for like 4 days. So by that time, everything was pretty much done. The healing definitely hurt, and pain is something that a lot of times will cause you to not want to do something. But you have to push through it. You have to push through the pain because the reward is a lot better.
How did you lose your finger?
Very good question. That was actually an accident at the hospital. That had nothing to do with the accident. They were pumping me with a medicine because I died twice. So in order to try to bring me back to life, they were putting a medicine in me, and the medicine had a bad reaction with my hand, which meant that they had to cut off the finger. It's a very, very good question. Any other questions? Okay, so again, what I want you guys to remember, the thing that I feel is most important is I really think that you guys need to remember the most important lesson of them all is that you guys are the ones that are in control. You are totally, totally in control over your mind, over your body, over what you do and don't do. You have total control. So if you have control, be the most powerful person you can be. Be the best person that you could be. Okay? Remember, bad things happen. It's not your fault. Remember, if it is your fault, take responsibility. Remember, it's okay to say I can't, as long as you say not yet. And remember, your mind and your heart, the two most powerful things. With those two things and you focusing, you will be able to accomplish anything. Okay?
Does anyone think that you need help?
Oh, that's a good question.
Very, very good question. Yes.
What was the question?
Do a lot of people think that I need a lot of help because of the fact that I have a disability?
That's good.
The answer is yes, they do. Some people recognize that I am a strong individual, so even though they want to help, they kind of step back and just let me do it because they know that I'm kind of stubborn like that. But I will tell you, I am not afraid of getting help when I can get it. You know, if I
It's
can,
okay to ask
it's
for
okay
help.
to ask for help, and if somebody's willing, because sometimes it just makes somebody feel better to be able to help. Sometimes even if I don't really need it, I'll take it anyway because they're offering it and I know it's going to make them feel better. So that's a very, very good question. But one thing that is important is I don't let anybody treat me differently. I don't let anybody treat me differently because even though I look different, even though I feel different, or even though I do have a disability, I'll tell you what, mentally, I am stronger than about 50% of the people that I know. Mentally, I am one of the strongest people I know. And it is because of that mental strength that I've been able to do what I have done. And it is because that mental strength that people look at me as inspiration and motivation. And that's the way I like it. I like strong. I like to be strong. Does that make sense? Very good question. Thank you guys very much.
Thank
I have
you.
to go.